So Tapu Bulu is coming to 5-star raids. Let's go through if it's any good. So it's gonna make its debut in raids on April 12th at 10 AM until April 26th at 10 AM all local time. Tapu Bulu is a grass and fairy type Pokemon. Has a base attack of 249, base stamina of 172, and base defense of 215 with a max CP at level 50 of 3,865. So pretty strong CP wise. For fast moves, it can learn Bullet Seed and Rock Smash, and for charge moves, it can learn Grass Knot, Dazzling Gleam, Mega Horn, and Solar Beam. However, these are subject to change upon release. First, let's start with Tapu Bulu as a raid attacker. Taking a look at Tapu Bulu as a grass type raid attacker, its highest DPS is going to be 15.488, which is actually pretty strong. I'll show you guys in a second compared to other grass type raid attackers. You can also use a fairy type raid attacker, which we're going to take a look at in a bit. Let's start with a grass type raid attacker. How does it compare? Well, Tapu Bulu is actually very similar in terms of DPS to the Pokemon Roserade, which obviously is one of those Pokemon I had community. It's going to have a higher TDO, which means it's going to have more bulk, but it's just going to have a little bit lower of a DPS. There are certain Pokemon that are better than Tapu Bulu. For example, Zarude is always going to be a better option, outclassing it in DPS and TDO. And also some of the shadow Pokemon we have in the game, like Shadow Venusaur, will be better just because of the sheer amount of DPS. However, Tapu Bulu is still not a bad grass type raid attacker. Would I invest in one? Probably not, because Roserade is pretty much similar in terms of stats, and it's a lot cheaper of an option. So I wouldn't really build a full team of them, but Tapu Bulu can be used as a grass type raid attacker, although grass is not very useful in raids. Now, since Tapu Bulu doesn't have a very fast move, so it's hard to rank its fairy type DPS, let's just take a look at Palkia counters and what are the best ones and see where Tapu Bulu stacks up. So taking a look at the top Palkia counters, we are going to see Pokemon like Shadow Gardevoir, Shadow Granbull, regular Gardevoir, Zacian, Togekiss, Tapu Koko, Granbull, and then Tapu Bulu. So it looks like as a fairy type raid attacker, Tapu Koko is going to be a higher DPS option. However, Tapu Bulu, although has a 19.032 to the 19.704, has a way higher TDO at 463 compared to 390. So honestly, I would say Tapu Bulu is the better fairy type raid attacker, although none of these are really going to be your go-tos. Like, you're better off just building a full team of Gardevoirs and Togekisses, since those are a lot cheaper, not being legendaries. It is still a decent fairy type raid attacker, and if you haven't already powered up as a grass type, you can still switch it to a fairy type if you're really in need. So yeah, all in all in PvE, this is a Pokemon you can run, but honestly, I think there are better, cheaper budget options out there, and you're better off saving your dust and investing in those. What about for PvP? Now, Tapu Bulu is too low for the Great League, so we can cut out of there, but let's start with the Ultra League. On screen are Tapu Bulu's matchups against the Open Ultra League. Quick explanation of how this works. If it is an X, that means Tapu Bulu wins that matchup. If there is a circle, that means Tapu Bulu loses that matchup. There are two columns of Tapu Bulus, by the way. The one on the left is going to be Tapu Bulu running Bullet Seed, Grass Knot, and Dazzling Gleam, and the one on the right is Bullet Seed, Grass Knot, Mega Horn. Taking a look at its matchups here, Tapu Bulu doesn't do great. There's a lot of blue circles here. The only notable matchups it really wins are going to be Swampert, Stunfisk. It can beat Cresselia if it has Mega Horn. It can beat Scrafty if it has Dazzling Gleam, Greedent, and Umbreon. Honestly, I really don't think Tapu Bulu is going to have much play in the Ultra League. Probably a Pokemon you can avoid, and most of the meta does defeat it. Now let's talk about the Master League Classic, the Master League without XL candies. Tapu Bulu, as you can see, it's going to be great. The more X's you see, the better. It's going to be Pokemon like Groudon, Zekrom, Yveltal, Mewtwo, Garchomp, Zarude, Walrein, Zacian, Palkia, Mamoswine, and even Snorlax, depending on its moveset. Being a fairy and grass type makes it an absolute core breaker in the Master League, because there's so many dragon types right now, but also at the same time, a lot of Pokemon weak to grass. Tapu Bulu's biggest weakness, which is poison, is not even prevalent in the Master League anyway, so it doesn't really have any big threats to worry about. If you want to take a look at the Open Master League with XL candies, Tapu Bulu is not going to do as great. The only Pokemon it's really got to watch out for are going to be the steel types like Melmetal and Metagross, and then other than that, just some strong Pokemon like Lugia, Dialga, Togekiss, Giratina. But all in all, it does pretty well. It beats a lot of these dark and fairy type Pokemon we see, and can even beat Zacian Hero, because most of Zacian's moves are resisted except for Play Rough on Tapu Bulu. So yeah, I would definitely grab myself one for the Master League, and then you can use that one as a raid attacker. You can avoid it for the Ultra League. I would say Tapu Bulu is probably the best Tapu we've gotten out of the four. So yeah, guys, comment below if you're excited for this Pokemon coming in Pokemon Go, and if you're going to be grinding it, and follow for tips, everyone. Peace.